Do you know who not to be kind to? Even if you were raised to treat everyone with kindness, there comes a point in life where you realize that your time, energy, and peace are too valuable to give away to just anyone. As you grow older, it becomes clear that kindness, while a beautiful trait, isn't always a gift. Sometimes it becomes a vulnerability that certain people exploit. There are individuals who feed off your generosity, your patience, and even your silence. The more room you give them, the more they take, without ever giving back. And often, these aren't distant strangers. They're the people closest to you, relatives, neighbors, longtime friends, the ones you never thought you'd have to guard yourself against. In this video, we'll explore 5 types of people you should stop extending kindness to as you age, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. Because some behaviors, if left unchecked, slowly drain your emotional well-being, often without you realizing it. By the time we're done, you'll have a clear understanding of who these people are, why their presence feels so exhausting, and most importantly, how to protect your peace without guilt or explanation. Your later years aren't meant for fixing everyone. They're meant for safeguarding your own emotional clarity and joy. Let's dive in. Number 1, the constant taker. One of the most telling signs that someone no longer deserves your kindness is when their presence in your life is only tied to their needs. You know the type, the ones who never call just to talk or share a moment of joy. When their name shows up on your phone, it's always because they want something, a favor, a ride, your time, and they always need it now. Take someone like Gloria, 71. For years, she's been the dependable one in her family, the one everyone turns to. Need a babysitter last minute? Ask Gloria. Going on vacation and needs someone to look after the dog? Gloria won't say no, but eventually Gloria started to notice something. When she needed something, a kind word on her birthday, help when she was sick, no one was there. Not even a quick message. And that's when the truth hit. Her relationships weren't built on mutual care. She was always the one giving and never receiving. There's a deep guilt that can come with pulling back from people like this, especially when they're family. We convince ourselves that being needed is a blessing, that saying no is selfish, that maybe, just maybe, they'll finally appreciate us if we just keep showing up. But the hard truth is this: if someone only shows up when they need something, they don't truly see you. They see what you can do for them. You're not a person in their eyes, just a convenient service. As you grow older, this dynamic becomes even more harmful. Your energy, time, and strength aren't endless anymore, and they're far too precious to waste on people who only take. Giving to someone who never gives back is like filling a bucket that has a hole in the bottom. It never fills. It just drains you. You're allowed to say no. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your peace. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's wise. And if someone pulls away the moment you stop giving, that tells you everything you need to know. It wasn't love, it was convenience. Kindness should never feel like a weight on your shoulders. Generosity should never trap you. In this chapter of life, every ounce of your time and effort should be poured into people who pour something back into you. Number 2, the constant critic. There's a unique kind of exhaustion that comes from spending time with someone who never has anything good to say. Someone who always finds fault in your clothes, your choices, your past. They don't raise their voice and they rarely insult you outright, but their criticisms come in steady, subtle jabs. Over time, those little comments begin to chip away at your confidence. Take Raymond, 82, for example. Every Sunday, he visits his cousin. He brings fresh bread, checks on the house, and tries to stay connected. But no matter how kind his gestures are, he's always met with nitpicking. Your hair looks strange. Why'd you get rid of that chair? Or, you're way too sensitive. At first, Raymond brushed it off, thinking it was harmless. But as the years passed, he noticed something had changed. He no longer looked forward to those visits. He felt smaller, more hesitant, less like himself. The danger of chronic criticism isn't in one cruel sentence. It's in the slow erosion of your sense of self. These people often hide behind the mask of honesty or constructive feedback, pretending their words come from care. But their real effect is to make you question yourself, your decisions, your preferences, your worth. When criticism becomes a constant companion, You stop opening up. You stop trying new things. You anticipate the disapproval before it even comes. But you've lived long enough to deserve peace, to feel secure in your own skin. You don't owe anyone an explanation for being who you are. If someone's presence makes you feel wrong, small, or broken, it's okay to take a step back. Being kind doesn't mean subjecting yourself to emotional erosion, especially when it's masked in polite tones. Sometimes the most powerful act of self-love is to say, I won't let you narrate my story anymore. Number 3, the guilt tripper. There's a heavy emotional toll that comes from someone who manipulates you into feeling like you've let them down. Every time you don't do exactly what they want, they don't lash out or argue. Instead, they use silence, sighs, or pointed phrases that make you question your worth and whether you've done enough. Consider Margaret, 79. She lives alone and does her best to stay connected with her extended family. Her niece, however, only reaches out when she needs help. And if Margaret dares to say no, even kindly, she's met with silence or guilt-laced remarks like, I just thought family would be there for each other. Margaret isn't trying to hurt anyone. She's just tired and trying to guard her time. But guilt doesn't care. It lingers, whispering in her ear that maybe she really is being selfish. Guilt trippers are especially draining because they use your best qualities, your compassion, your reliability, your loyalty, against you. They make you feel that setting boundaries is cruel, when in reality it's necessary for your well-being. Over time, you may find yourself constantly justifying your choices, giving more than you're comfortable with, simply to avoid their disapproval or emotional withdrawal. Here's the truth. You don't owe anyone your emotional stability. You don't need to defend your every no. You don't have to sacrifice your well-being for someone else's comfort. If someone only treats you with love when you're overextending yourself, that's not love, it's control. You are not responsible for healing someone else's wounds with your time or your heart. Just because you may have more hours in the day doesn't mean you should spend them appeasing guilt. Your heart is not a doormat. Next time someone tries to guilt you for drawing a line, don't apologize. Take another step back, because peace isn't granted, it's guarded, and you've earned the right to protect yours. Number 4, the quiet competitor. Not all adversaries are obvious. Some come disguised as friends, smiling, encouraging, and pretending to root for you, all while quietly hoping you never outshine them. These are the quiet competitors. They're not content with their own success unless it somehow overshadows yours. Think of Helen, 76, who finally decided to return to her love of painting by joining a local art class. It was a brave step after years of putting her creativity aside. Her longtime friend Judy decided to join too, saying she wanted to be supportive. But week after week, Judy's comments began to sting. Your painting is interesting, so bold for your age. Or, I really admire how free your work is. I guess technical skill isn't everything. On the surface, they seemed like compliments, but underneath, they were subtle jabs. Helen began to doubt herself, questioning whether she truly belonged in the class. This is how quiet competitors operate. They don't openly criticize. They compare, gently, precisely, and in a way that's easy to dismiss as harmless. They'll always have the slightly better anecdote, the more impressive experience, or the louder praise from someone you both admire, and slowly their presence makes you feel smaller, less excited, less confident. The danger isn't just in what they say, it's in what it causes you to do. You hold back, you share less, you question your progress, you dim your own light so theirs can shine brighter. That's not friendship, that's competition disguised as closeness. At this stage in life, there's no room left for games like that. You've lived through too much, overcome too many battles, and worked too hard to let someone else's insecurity drag you into a silent rivalry. You don't need to compare. You don't need to prove. You deserve relationships that are rooted in celebration, not competition. If someone only applauds when they've done better, or can't truly cheer for you without making it about themselves, it's time to create space. You deserve to be around people who feel like comfort and encouragement, not measurement and pressure. True friends celebrate your wins no matter how big or small. They inspire you to keep going, not question why you ever started. And as you grow older, that kind of support isn't just nice, it's essential. Surround yourself with those who light your fire, not those who quietly try to snuff it out. If this resonates with you, comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you don't miss more valuable insights. Your support helps us keep creating content to uplift and empower. Let's move on. Number 5, the passive-aggressive manipulator. Not everyone shows their toxicity loudly. Some avoid conflict altogether, opting instead for sarcasm, backhanded comments, or calculated silence that leaves you second-guessing yourself. These are the passive-aggressive manipulators, and in your later years, they can be especially harmful because their behavior often hides behind politeness while slowly draining your emotional energy. Take Harold, 83, who's lived in the same neighborhood for decades. His neighbor Doug is always friendly on the surface, smiling, waving, chatting. But when Harold asked for a small favor, like help moving a planter, Doug replies with comments like, "Getting a little slow, aren't we?" Or, "I'd help, but I'm trying to keep my knees working." He never directly says no, but the message is clear, and it stings. Harold is left confused, unsure if he's being joked with or brushed off. This is how passive-aggressive people operate. They avoid being directly responsible, yet leave behind a trail of subtle put-downs. They'll ignore your messages, cancel plans without reason, or give you the cold shoulder. And if you ever bring it up, suddenly you're the problem. You're too sensitive. It was just a joke. You're overthinking it. Over time, their behavior conditions you to walk on eggshells. You suppress your needs, your voice, just to avoid setting them off. But here's the truth. At this point in your life, peace is not a luxury, it's a necessity. And anyone who disturbs that peace with manipulative mind games doesn't deserve a place in your inner circle. You don't need to call them out. You don't need to fix them. You just need to step back, protect your emotional space, and create distance from anyone who chips away at your spirit. Because a fake smile is still a lie, and you've lived too long to keep accepting smiles that hide malice. Surround yourself with people who speak plainly, love honestly, and show up with sincerity. Life's too short for masked intentions. Final thoughts. Now that you've seen the 5 kinds of people who don't deserve your kindness, it's time to pause and reflect. Are any of these people still in your life? Are you constantly giving your time, patience, or energy to people who only take, criticize, or manipulate? It's hard, especially when these people are family or old friends. But the older you get, the more sacred your peace becomes. You've supported others when you were breaking. You've said yes when you wanted to say no. You've avoided conflict to keep the peace. But was there ever peace, really? These years aren't for carrying the same emotional weight you've been lugging around. They're for releasing it. You have every right to guard your space, your time, your heart. Being kind doesn't mean letting yourself be drained. It means offering love with limits, grace with discernment. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is walk away. If someone's presence feels like pressure, not peace, it's time to let go. If any part of this message resonated with you, don't just move on. Write it down. Reflect on it. Ask yourself, who have I been giving pieces of myself to without anything in return? Your later years aren't just about surviving. They're about healing, protecting your energy, and building relationships that genuinely nurture your soul. That journey starts with letting go of the ones who never truly saw you. Thank you for spending your time with us today. We'd love to hear what stood out to you. Leave a comment below sharing one insight you gained and how you plan to use it in your life. If this message brought you clarity or comfort, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Your support helps us keep creating meaningful content. See you in the next video.